Good afternoon, everyone. So, in my previous class, I have started the chapter that is management of natural resources, right? So, today I will continue this chapter, and in my previous class, I have completed up to the that means why do we need to manage our resources up to this part. So, today I will start with the forest and wildlife. Okay, so today's topic is forest and wildlife. So, you know that in the forest, forests are actually biodiversity hotspot. You know the meaning of the biodiversity and hotspot. Biodiversity means a place where different types of species can be found. Okay, so these forests are considered as biodiversity hotspot. Okay, so we need to manage this biodiversity of the forest because the loss of the biodiversity may lead to ecological stability. Okay, so loss of biodiversity may lead to ecological stability, may lead to a loss of ecological stability. Okay, so in that forest, a wide range of different living organisms can be found. So these are bacteria, fungi, ferns, flowering plants, insect. My voice is not clear. Okay, let me check once. Yes, good afternoon. Okay, now tell me, are you getting a clear voice or not? Okay, so thank you everyone. So, I was discussing about the forest and wildlife, and I have mentioned that forests are actually biodiversity hotspot. You know the meaning of biodiversity, that means a place where different type of living organisms can be found. Okay, so that is why it is considered as biodiversity hotspot. What can be found like bacteria, fungi, fern, flowering plants, nematode, insect, birds, reptiles. You know there are different types of species can be found. So in the forest these can be found and all are very important. Okay, and that is why that we have to conserve and we need to preserve the biodiversity. Okay, so and what will happen if it get destroyed? Then loss of biodiversity may lead to a loss of ecological stability. Okay, so it can create a loss in the ecological stability. Now we all are dependent on the forest. Okay, as we know that in the forest different types of plants and animals mainly can found, and beside those plants and animals many other organisms also can be found, right? So we can say in a word that many resources can be found from the forest. Okay, so and these resources we can get only from the forest. Sometimes we are not having any alternatives, that's why we need to dependent on the forest. Now for the conservation, so that is why we need to conserve our forest. So for the conservation of the forest there are some stakeholders. Okay, there are some stakeholders, that means who are having a interest on something. Okay, so for conservation of the forest there are some stakeholders. First one is that the people who are living in that particular place, or the people who are living surround the forest. So first stakeholder is people living nearby forest. Second one is forest department. Forest department of government. Third one is industrialist. And fourth one is nature enthusiast. Okay, so they are the main forest stakeholders who are playing main role in conservation of the forest. So I will discuss about one by one. So first one is people who live in or around the forest. They can protect the forest. How? Because those people are actually dependent on the forest, and they as you know that forest produce various things which are required for daily life. So people who are living nearby the forest or in the forest, they are actually getting help from the forest. That's why they are trying to conserve the forest. So what they are getting? They are getting bamboo for making the huts. They are getting the fallen leaves and that dried bark or the stem. Okay, so for that they can use for this one they can use for burning something. Okay, and they can create baskets to collect and store food materials. They can gather foods like fruits, vegetables from the different trees which are inside the forest, and fishing and hunting. Okay, these are the some benefit which they can get from the forest. Okay, so that is why they are the first who can take care of the forest. Second one is forest department. So the forest department of the government which owns the land and controls the resources from the forest. Okay, so government, the forest should be undertaken by the government. So if it is undertaken by government, so government will try to protect the place, try to protect the resources of the forest. Okay, that is why they comes in the second point. And third one is that the industrialist. Okay, look there in your book there is an example like what industrialists do. They have give with the help of an example they are tried to explain, like that from those who use tendu leaves to make beads to the ones with paper mills, who use various forest produce but are not dependent on the forest in any one area. What they do, actually industrialists are focused on some benefit. Okay, so what they will do, they will different types of industrialists can be found, and they are having different interest. So for that they and as you know that many things can be produced from the different plant products. So the particular industrialist, if he or she or the group want to make something from a particular plant, they should try to protect this particular plant. Okay, so like that, like eucalyptus, from the eucalyptus plant they are getting many benefits, so they will try to protect those plants. So like this, that they will get good resources from these particular plants and different plant products. So that's why industrialists they are not actually directly dependent on the resource product. Actually they want some benefit. Okay, they will make something from these particular plants and they will be benefited. Okay, so for that reason they will try to protect the particular plants or other organisms and the biodiversity of this particular area for the particular time can be maintained, right? So that is why they comes in the third point. And the last one is that the wildlife and the nature enthusiasts who are not having any personal interest. Okay, nature enthusiasts are not having any, and they are not actually dependent on the forest. Okay, and they have no role in the actually not no role, they are having the role in the management of the forest. So nature enthusiasts, they are having their own into that they want to protect the nature. They actually they love the nature. Okay, they are not benefited or they will not get money or something else. Their main motto is they love the nature. That's why they want to protect the nature by their own way. Okay, so the wildlife and the nature enthusiasts want to conserve the forest, and that is why we are saying that they are one of the, they come under the stakeholders. Okay, so these four are the stakeholders for conservation of the forest and wildlife. Okay, so and you have to remember that how they are benefited, like how people are getting benefits, and how the industrialists are getting benefited. Okay, like that. So for protecting the forest, different type of acts was developed and different types of movement was there for conservation of the forest. So now you have to know that two main movement in the 70s which helped us to conserve the forest. So what are these two? Now, okay, 1 minute. Just a minute, okay? Okay. So now what I will discuss about the forest conservation. So first act in the year 1980, Forest Conservation Act has been passed, and what was the result? It was not that much a good result they didn't get. Okay, still deforestation increased, biodiversity decreased. So these were the result after this act. So again, next act was in the year in that after the particular act, also wildlife also dwindled. So we didn't get any type of good result from this particular act. So for that next act in the year 1988, first in the year 1980 and after that in the year 1988, National Forest Policy. So what was that? That villages along with the forest department will manage a specific forest blocks. In this particular act, what they have told that villages along with the forest department will manage specific forest block. But after this one also they didn't get any considerable success. So next act was there in the year 1992, Joint Forest Management Act by 17 states, and a considerable success has been achieved by this act. So now these are the, I have told you these are the some acts, but now I will discuss about the forest conservation movement from the different history. So the actually what was there that in the I will discuss about two movements which were mainly important. That there was a community which is called as Bishnoi community. In they can be found particularly in the Rajasthan. For them, conservation of forest and wildlife has been actually religious tenet. Okay, so what I can say that this is an example, just an example. Like what was that in the Bishnoi community in the Rajasthan? For them, conservation of forest and wildlife has been a religious tenet. Now, after that, the government of India has recently instituted an Amrita Devi Bishnoi National Award for Wildlife Conservation in the memory of Amrita Devi Bishnoi, who in 1731 sacrificed her life along with 363 others for the protection of khejri trees in Khejriwali village near Jodhpur in Rajasthan. So a movement was there. The king of, in that particular time, the king of the Rajasthan told her soldiers that he wanted to make something. For that huge amount of wood was required. That's why he has told his hands that to cut down the khejri trees and to make this one. But what happened? That the people in this particular area, as they are having some religious tenets, so in people, particularly ladies in this particular area, sacrificed their lives for the protection of this particular khejri tree, and it was led by Amrita Devi Bishnoi. That's why the now government has recently instituted the Amrita Devi Bishnoi National Award for Wildlife Conservation for the memory of Amrita Devi Bishnoi for her this movement. Okay, so what he has done, you have to remember that who in 1731 sacrificed her life along with 363 others, along with 363 others, okay, for the protection of the particular this khejri trees. Okay, khejri trees, and these trees can be found in this particular village. That is why it was called as Khejriwal village. Okay, so for the protection of the khejri trees in Khejriwal village, and it is situated near the Jodhpur in Rajasthan. So studies have shown that the previous sorry. So this was an movement, and for the protection of the khejri trees in Khejriwal village and in the Rajasthan. Another, you have read about this particular movement, that is Chipko Andolon or Chipko movement or Hug the Tree movement. This is a Hindi word, so in English we can call it Hug the Tree movement. So what was there? That village women clasped the tree trunks, thus preventing workers felling the trees. Okay, so they have hugged the tree trunk like this. That is why the name of the movement is Hug the Tree movement. So what was the actual movement? That the Chipko movement was a non-violent agitation in the year 1973 that was aimed the protection and conservation of trees. But perhaps it is best remembered for the collective mobilization of the women for the cause of preserving the forest, okay, which also brought about a change in the attitude regarding their own status in society. So what was there in the, and they also help themselves to maintain their ecological balance in the, this movement was particularly in the Uttar Pradesh, okay. So this movement and it is, you know that it is in the north side of our India, and the movement of this movement is considered as Chipko movement. So why? Because villagers hugged the trees and encircled them to prevent being hacked. So first movement was that the Vishnoi, which was happened in the Rajasthan, and after that this Chipko movement was there, and this movement was led by Sundarlal Bahuguna, okay. So these are the different movements which was in our ancient times and which helped us to protect our forest, okay. So for today, up to this, you have to read these paragraphs very carefully. That means in the 16.2.1 there is a description about the stakeholders, okay. So from this you will get to know that how they are benefited, that means what they are doing, and how, sometimes we can say that monoculture of a particular plant was there. For that we can some trees like were destroyed, okay. So in that monocultures of pine, teaks and eucalyptus was there. So in order to plant these trees, huge areas of the forest are cleared for all vegetation. So for clearing for monoculture of this tree, they have cleared a huge area, and then what happened? So many people has, the biodiversity of this particular area has been destroyed, right? And many people of this who are living on this particular place, they are not having the particular place to live in, the which was there previously was their home, okay, like that. So there are some disadvantages also you will get to know if you read these paragraphs very carefully, okay. So today I am completing these movements, that means stakeholder part, and in my next class I will discuss about the sustainable management, and I will in the sustainable management first portion, that is Chipko Andolon, okay. You will get this Chipko Andolon in the first portion of the sustainable management, and the different act which I have discussed you will get there. So these are the some information, okay. So these are the some information, just you have to read and you have to gather those information carefully, okay. So in my next class I will discuss about the different water part. Read those part. If you face any problem, ask me in my next class, okay, as these are the only just some information, and it will help you only if you read those paragraphs carefully. Clear everyone? So for today that's it. Thank you and bye bye everyone.